"I already spent it, Dad. The money's gone. What do you want me to do about it?" Those words still echo in my mind, even now. That cold, casual dismissal of what I'd lost. That's when I knew the truth about my son. That's when everything changed. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Thomas Brennan. I'm 67 years old, and for the past 4 years, I've been a widower. My wife Catherine died of pancreatic cancer in the spring of 2020, right as the world was shutting down. We'd been married for 42 years. 42 years of building a life together in our small town of Millbrook, Pennsylvania, population 8,000. Catherine and I never had much money. I worked at the paper mill for 38 years before it closed down, and she was a librarian at the elementary school. We lived simply, saved what we could, and found joy in small things. One of those small things was a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS. We bought that car in 1995 for $3,000. It was a rust bucket, barely running, with a seized engine and an interior that mice had turned into a condominium. But Catherine saw something in it. She'd grown up poor in West Virginia, and her father had driven a Camaro just like it when she was little, before he lost his job at the coal mine and had to sell it. She'd always dreamed of having one, so we bought it. And for the next 25 years, we restored it together. Every weekend, every summer evening, we'd be in our garage. Catherine would hand me tools, help me sand and paint, sit beside me as we replaced every piece of that engine. We took our time. We didn't have money for professional help, so we learned everything ourselves from library books and later YouTube videos. Catherine became an expert at upholstery. I learned metalwork. The cancer diagnosis came in January 2020, stage 4. They gave her 6 months. She lasted 4. We finished the Camaro 3 weeks before she died. I remember the day we took it for its first real drive. Catherine was so weak by then, I had to help her into the passenger seat. We drove through the mountains, windows down, her thin hand resting on mine on the gear shift. She didn't say much, just smiled. "Promise me something, Tommy," she said as we pulled back into our driveway that evening. "Promise me you won't sell this car, no matter what happens. This is us. This is our life together." I promised. After she died, I couldn't bring myself to drive it. I'd go into the garage every day, run my hand along the hood, sit in the driver's seat, and breathe in the smell of the leather Catherine had carefully restored. Sometimes I'd find one of her bobby pins wedged in the seat, or a folded piece of paper with her handwriting, a note about which parts we still needed to order. Small ghosts of her everywhere. My son Michael and I had always had a complicated relationship. He was our only child, born when Catherine and I were in our 20s. We'd hoped for more kids, but it didn't happen. Michael grew up knowing he was everything to us, and maybe that was the problem. We gave him everything we could afford, which wasn't much, but we tried, Catherine especially. She worked extra hours at the library to pay for his college. He dropped out after 2 years, got into day trading, cryptocurrency, various online ventures that he swore would make him rich. He married a woman named Tiffany when he was 28. They had 2 kids, Madison and Tyler. I barely saw my grandchildren. Michael and Tiffany lived about an hour away in Harrisburg, and they were always too busy to visit. The visits picked up after Catherine died. At first, I was grateful. I thought maybe grief had reminded Michael of what family meant. He'd come by every few weeks, sometimes with Tiffany and the kids, sometimes alone. He'd ask how I was doing, if I needed anything. Then came the requests. It started small. Could he borrow $200? The car needed repairs. Then it was $500. Medical bills, he said. Then $1,000. Then $2,000. I gave it to him. He was my son, and I had some savings. Catherine's life insurance had paid off the mortgage and left me with about $60,000 in the bank. It wasn't much, but it was enough for my simple life. I didn't know about the gambling. It was a Tuesday in September when everything fell apart. I'd gone to visit my brother in Ohio for a week. Michael had a key to my house, had always had one. He was supposed to check on things while I was gone, water the plants, that sort of thing. I came home on a Wednesday afternoon. The house felt different the moment I walked in. Empty in a way it shouldn't be. I dropped my bag in the hallway and walked through the living room. Nothing seemed disturbed. Kitchen was fine. But when I walked past the door to the garage, I noticed it was ajar. The garage was empty. The Camaro was gone. I stood there in the doorway, staring at the empty space where Catherine's car should be. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might be having a heart attack. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and called Michael. He answered on the fourth ring. "Hey, Dad, you back already? Where's the car, Michael?" Silence on the other end. Then, "Dad, listen. Where is Catherine's car?" "I can explain." "Where is it?" "I sold it." The world seemed to tilt. I grabbed the doorframe to steady myself. "You what?" "I needed the money, Dad. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. I owe some people, and they're not the kind of people who wait. I sold the Camaro to a collector in Philadelphia. He paid $45,000 for it. I used the money to pay off my debt." "You had no right." My voice didn't sound like my own. "That car wasn't yours to sell. Dad, you never drive it. It just sits there. I knew you'd never sell it yourself. But I thought you'd understand. Once the threat was gone, once I was safe, I thought you'd see I didn't have a choice. I promised your mother. Mom's dead, Dad. The car is just a car. I'm your son. I'm alive, and I was in danger." I hung up on him. I couldn't listen to another word. I sank down onto the garage floor, that cold concrete where Catherine and I had spent so many hours, and I wept. Not just for the car, but for everything. For Catherine being gone, for my son being a stranger, for the promise I'd broken. I don't know how long I sat there. Eventually, I got up, went inside, and started making calls. I called the police first. They told me that since Michael had a key and access to the house, and since the car's title was in my name alone with no documentation about restrictions, it was a civil matter, not theft. I'd have to sue him. I called a lawyer next, Margaret Chen, someone Catherine had known from book club. She agreed to see me the next day. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept going back to the garage, standing in that empty space. Around 3 a.m, I remembered something. Michael had said he sold the car to a collector in Philadelphia. There was a classic car community in the region. Not huge, but tight-knit. I'd met some of them over the years at car shows when Catherine and I would take the Camaro out. I spent the next hour on my computer searching through classic car forums and Facebook groups for the Philadelphia area. I posted in 3 different groups, looking for information about a 1,969 Camaro SS, blue with white stripes, recently sold in the Philadelphia area. Family emergency. Please contact me. I got a response by 7 that morning. A man named David Kowalski. He'd bought the car. He sent me his phone number, and I called him immediately. "Mr. Brennan?" His voice was cautious. "I saw your post. I bought a Camaro matching that description 3 days ago. Is there a problem?" "That car belonged to my late wife," I said. "My son sold it without my permission. I need to get it back." There was a long pause. "Jesus. I'm sorry. Your son seemed legitimate. He had the title, the keys. I paid him $45,000 in cash. I understand you're caught in the middle, Mr. Kowalski. But that car is all I have left of my wife. We restored it together over 25 years. I'll pay you back the $45,000. I just need the car back. Mr. Brennan, I don't have the car anymore." My heart sank. "What? I'm a collector, but I also restore and flip cars. I bought your Camaro to resell. I haven't done any work on it yet. It's in beautiful condition. But I already had a buyer lined up. A guy in New York. I'm supposed to deliver it next week. I'd lose money backing out now. Please." I was begging now, and I didn't care. "Please, Mr. Kowalski, I'll pay whatever you need. 50,000, 60,000. That's everything I have. But I'll give it to you." Another pause. Then he said, "Let me think about it. I'm not an unreasonable man, and what your son did is wrong. Give me 24 hours. I need to contact my buyer, see what can be done. I'll call you back tomorrow." He hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, feeling like I was drowning. The call came at 4 the next afternoon. I grabbed the phone on the first ring. "Mr. Brennan, It's David Kowalski. I spoke with my buyer in New York. He's disappointed, but he understands the situation. He's agreed to let me back out of the sale. You can have the car back. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll get you the money. There's something else, he interrupted. When I was detailing the car yesterday, getting it ready for delivery, I found something. In the glove box. An envelope with your name on it. In a woman's handwriting. I stopped breathing. I didn't open it, he continued. It's sealed, but I thought you should know it's there. I'll bring the car to you, Mr. Brennan. Where do you live? I gave him my address in Millbrook. We arranged for him to deliver the car on Saturday, 2 days away. I'd go to the bank on Friday and withdraw $60,000. It would nearly wipe out my savings, but I didn't care. Michael called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. He left voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. First angry, then pleading, then angry again. Tiffany called too. She told me I was being selfish, that Michael had made a mistake but he was family, that I was choosing a car over my own son. I blocked both their numbers. Friday morning, I met with Margaret Chen, the lawyer. I told her everything. She listened, took notes, and then leaned back in her chair. Thomas, I need to tell you something. Catherine came to see me about a year before she died. I stared at her. What? She set up a family trust, put the house and the Camaro into it. She never told you? No. Why would she? She was worried about Michael. She'd found out about some of his debts, some of the trouble he was getting into. She didn't want to burden you with it while she was sick, but she wanted to protect you. The trust stipulates that the house and car belong to you for your lifetime and cannot be sold without your written consent. After your death, they go to Michael, but with conditions. My hands were shaking. The car sale is invalid. Michael had no legal authority to sell property held in trust. Mr. Kowalski will have to be paid back, yes, but you can sue Michael for the money. He committed fraud. I sat there, stunned. Catherine had known. Even at the end, even while dying, she'd been trying to protect me. There's more, Margaret said. Catherine left a letter with me. She made me promise not to give it to you unless something like this happened. She said I'd know when the time was right. She pulled an envelope from her desk drawer. I think the time is right. The envelope had my name written on it in Catherine's careful script. I took it with trembling hands but didn't open it. Not yet. Saturday came. David Kowalski arrived at 10 in the morning, driving the Camaro. I had the cash ready, $60,000 in $100 bills, withdrawn from my bank the day before. My entire life savings, minus about $4,000. He pulled into my driveway, and I walked out to meet him. The car looked exactly as it had the last time I'd seen it. Perfect. Beautiful. Catherine's dream. David was a man in his 50s, built like someone who'd worked with his hands his whole life. He climbed out of the Camaro and shook my hand. She's a beauty, Mr. Brennan. I can see why you wanted her back. I handed him the envelope with the cash. He counted it, nodded, and handed me the keys. Then he reached into the car and pulled out a sealed envelope. This was in the glove box, he said. I think it's for you. I took it. The paper was slightly yellowed, and Catherine's handwriting on the front said simply, Tommy. David left. I stood there in my driveway, holding the envelope, unable to move. Finally, I got into the car, into the driver's seat that Catherine had reupholstered in black leather. I could smell her perfume, or maybe I was imagining it. I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, 3 pages long, dated the 15th of March, 2020, a month before she died. My dearest Tommy, it began. If you're reading this, then something has gone wrong with Michael. I'm sorry I'm not there to help you through it. I'm sorry I won't be there for so many things. I need to tell you something I haven't had the courage to say while I'm still alive. Michael has a gambling problem. I found out about it 2 years ago. He came to me, begged me not to tell you, promised he'd get help. I gave him money from my own account, money I'd saved from years of working summer programs at the library. $5,000. He promised it would be enough, that he'd stop. that he'd change. He didn't change. I caught him lying about it 6 months later. More debts, more promises. I stopped giving him money, but I didn't tell you because you were already working so hard, already worried about me being sick. I didn't want to add to your burden. But I know Michael. I love him, but I know him. He's weak in ways we didn't raise him to be, and I blame myself for that. I gave him too much. I protected him too much from consequences. And now that I'm dying, I'm terrified of what he'll do to you. So I've taken steps. I've put the house and the Camaro into a trust. Margaret Chen has all the paperwork. Michael can't touch them. After I'm gone, don't let him move in with you. Don't let him have a key. Don't give him money. I know that sounds harsh. I know it goes against every instinct we have as parents. But Tommy, we have to let him fail. It's the only way he'll ever have a chance to become the man he should be. The Camaro represents our life together. Every hour we spent in that garage, every small victory when we got another part working, every frustration when something went wrong. That car is us, Tommy. It's our marriage, our partnership, our love. Don't let anyone take it from you, not even our son. I'm leaving you one more thing. In the trunk of the car, under the carpet where the spare tire goes, there's a lockbox. The key is taped under the dashboard on the driver's side. Inside that box is another $20,000 in cash. Money I saved without telling you. I wanted you to have a safety net, something Michael couldn't manipulate you into giving him. Live your life, Tommy. Drive the car. Don't let it sit in the garage like a museum. Go to the mountains. Go to the ocean. Take the drives we always talked about but never made time for. Live for both of us. I love you more than anything in this world. I'm sorry I can't stay longer. I'm sorry I'm leaving you alone to deal with this. But you're stronger than you think. You've always been the strongest man I've known. All my love, forever, Catherine. I sat in that car in my driveway, and I cried harder than I'd cried since the day she died. But this time, it wasn't just grief. It was gratitude. Overwhelming gratitude that I'd spent 42 years with a woman who loved me enough to protect me, even from beyond the grave. I checked under the dashboard. The key was there, exactly where she said it would be. I opened the trunk, pulled back the carpet, and found the lockbox. Inside was $20,000 in cash, neatly bundled in bank wrappers. Catherine had saved me. Even dead, she was still saving me. Over the next few weeks, I took action. With Margaret Chen's help, I filed a lawsuit against Michael for fraud. The trust documents made it clear that the sale was invalid. Michael was liable for the $45,000 he'd taken from David Kowalski, plus legal fees. I also filed for a restraining order after he showed up at my house at 2 a.m, drunk and screaming in my front yard that I was choosing a dead woman over my living son. The restraining order was granted. Michael was ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from me and my property. Tiffany filed for divorce. She'd apparently had no idea about the extent of Michael's gambling, and when everything came out in court, she'd had enough. She took the kids and moved back to her parents' place in Pittsburgh. The lawsuit took 8 months to resolve. Michael didn't have $45,000. He didn't have anything. He'd been borrowing from everyone he knew, maxing out credit cards, taking out payday loans. He was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. The court ordered him to pay me back in installments, $200 a month. At that rate, it would take him nearly 19 years. I knew I'd never see most of that money, but that wasn't the point. The point was consequence. The point was that Catherine had been right. Michael needed to fail. He needed to hit bottom. Maybe then he'd finally get help. During those 8 months, I did something Catherine had told me to do. I drove the Camaro. I took it out every weekend. I drove through the Pennsylvania mountains, watching the leaves change color. I drove to the ocean in Delaware and parked on the beach, windows down, listening to the waves. I drove to Ohio to visit my brother, and we took a road trip through places we'd known as kids. I put 15,000 miles on that car in 8 months, and every mile, I felt Catherine with me. I also started going to a support group for people dealing with addicted family members. It met in the basement of a Methodist church in the next town over. There were 12 of us, mostly parents and spouses. We shared our stories, our pain, our guilt, our small victories and massive defeats. I learned that loving someone doesn't mean enabling them. I learned that setting boundaries isn't cruelty. I learned that I couldn't save Michael. Only he could save himself. In February, almost 18 months after he'd sold the car, I got a letter from Michael. Not an email, not a text. A real letter, handwritten, sent through the mail. "Dad," it said, "I'm in rehab. 90-day program in Kentucky. This is my second time here. The first time didn't take. I'm hoping this time will be different. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I stole from you. I lied to you. I broke your heart and Mom's trust. I sold the one thing you asked me never to touch. I know what that car meant. I know what Mom and I were to you. And I chose my addiction over both of you. I'm writing to tell you that you were right to sue me. You were right to get the restraining order. You were right to cut me off. For the first time in my life, I'm facing real consequences. And I'm starting to understand that consequences are the only thing that ever had a chance of saving me. I've been going to GA meetings here, Gamblers Anonymous. I've learned that I'm an addict. I've been one for years. It started with fantasy football, then online poker, then sports betting, then crypto. I told myself I'd quit after one big win. The big win never came. I don't know if I'll stay sober. The counselors here say most people relapse. But I'm trying. That's all I can do. I don't expect you to write back. I don't expect you to ever want to see me again. But I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything, and I'm grateful. You and Mom gave me everything, and I threw it all away. But you also gave me one last gift by not saving me this time. By letting me fall. I'm grateful for that too. Tell Mom I'm sorry. I know she's with you somehow. I know she is. Tell her I'm trying to be the man she wanted me to be, even if it's too late. Love, Michael. I read that letter, sitting at my kitchen table. Then I folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. I didn't write back. Not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. Spring came again. 4 years since Catherine had died. I was 67 years old. I'd lost almost everything I'd saved over a lifetime. I'd lost my relationship with my son, maybe forever. I'd lost the naive belief that love and good intentions were enough to fix broken people. But I still had the house Catherine and I had bought 40 years ago. I still had the Camaro we'd restored together. I still had her letters, her voice in my head, her memory in every corner of my life. And I had something else. I had peace, real peace, for the first time since she'd died. I sold the house in April. It was too big, too full of memories, and I didn't need it anymore. I bought a small condo in a retirement community an hour south, closer to my brother. The condo had a garage just big enough for the Camaro. I kept Catherine's $20,000 in cash, the money she'd hidden for me. I put it in a new safety deposit box, along with her letters and the legal documents for the trust. Emergency money, just in case. I also kept something else I'd found in the car. When I was cleaning out the glove box a few months after getting the Camaro back, I discovered a small notebook wedged behind the owner's manual. Catherine's handwriting filled every page. A journal of our restoration project, dating back to 1995. The 3rd of June, 1995. Bought the Camaro today. Tommy thinks I'm crazy, but he's smiling. He's always smiling when I get excited about something. The 15th of September, 1998. Finally got the engine running. It sounds like music. Tommy grabbed me and danced me around the garage. The radio wasn't even on. He was humming. The 24th of December, 2005. Worked on the upholstery tonight instead of wrapping presents. Tommy said the car is my present to both of us. He's right. The 8th of May 2019. Tommy doesn't know I'm sick yet. I'll tell him next week, after his birthday. But tonight I sat in the car and cried because I'm afraid I won't get to finish it. I'm afraid I won't get to take that drive through the mountains we've been planning for 20 years. The 1st of March 2020. We're almost done. I'm so weak now, but I won't stop. We're going to finish this car, and we're going to take that drive. And I'm going to hold Tommy's hand and feel the wind in my hair one more time. Just one more time. The entries ended there. But on the last page, dated the 20th of March 2020. Just a few weeks before she died, Catherine had written one final note. This car is proof that love isn't just a feeling. It's action. It's showing up every weekend for 25 years. It's patience when things don't work. It's celebrating small victories together. It's building something beautiful, brick by brick, piece by piece, day by day. Tommy, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. It means you're alone with this car and all these memories. Don't be sad. We did it. We built something that will outlast both of us. Every time you drive it, I'm with you. Every mile is ours, forever. I drive the Camaro almost every day now. I'm retired. I have nowhere I need to be, but I drive anyway. Sometimes I go to the grocery store. Sometimes I just cruise back roads with no destination in mind. Sometimes I park at scenic overlooks and sit there with the windows down, listening to the silence. People at the retirement community know about the car. They know about Catherine. Some of them have their own stories of loss and love. We sit in the courtyard in the evenings and share them. Michael completed his 90-day program. He's been sober from gambling for 14 months now. He sends me a letter once a month, updating me on his progress. He has a job at a warehouse. He's living in a sober living house. He sees his kids every other weekend. He's taking it one day at a time. I still haven't written back, but I've kept every letter. Maybe someday I'll be ready. Maybe someday he'll be ready. Or maybe some things stay broken. I don't know yet. What I do know is this. Catherine was right about everything. She was right that I needed to let Michael face consequences. She was right that I needed to protect myself. She was right that the Camaro wasn't just a car. It was us. It was our marriage made metal and chrome and leather. It was proof that we existed, that our love meant something, that we built something real. Last week, I drove up to the mountains, to a overlook, Catherine, and I used to talk about visiting. We never made it there together, not alive. But I made it. I parked the Camaro facing the valley. The autumn leaves spread out below like a quilt of red and gold. I sat in the driver's seat for a long time, my hand on the gear shift where Catherine's hand used to rest on mine. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange, and I swear I could feel her beside me. Not a ghost, not a haunting, just the simple, solid presence of a love that refuses to die. We made it, Kath, I said out loud. We made it. The wind picked up, rustling through the trees. In the distance, a hawk circled. The Camaro's engine ticked as it cooled, and I sat there. 67 years old, a widower, a father to a broken son, a man who'd lost almost everything, but not quite everything, never everything. Because I still had this, the car, the memories, the proof that love, real love, isn't something that can be stolen or sold or destroyed. It's something you build, together, day by day, mile by mile, forever. I turned the key in the ignition. The engine roared to life. That beautiful sound Catherine and I had worked so hard to perfect. I put the car in gear and headed down the mountain. The wind in my hair, the setting sun at my back, and Catherine's love wrapped around me like armor. Some people might say I chose a car over my son. They'd be wrong. I chose the promise I made to my wife. I chose the boundaries that saved my life. I chose myself, finally, after years of giving pieces of myself away to people who didn't know how to treasure them. And in choosing myself, in honoring Catherine's memory and her final gift to me, I found something I'd lost in the years since she died. I found peace. I found purpose. I found home, not in a building or a place, but in the miles I drive, in the memories I carry, in the love that built this beautiful machine, and the love that refuses to let me forget what I'm worth. Catherine knew what she was doing when she hid that money, wrote those letters, set up that trust. She knew that sometimes the greatest act of love is teaching someone to save themselves. She saved me. And now, every day, every mile, every turn of the wheel, I'm living the life she wanted me to have. Not a life of bitterness and regret, but a life of freedom and memory and motion. I'm 67 years old. I don't know how many years I have left, how many miles are still ahead of me, but I know this. I'll spend them driving. I'll spend them remembering. I'll spend them honoring the woman who loved me enough to protect me, even from our own son. I'll spend them living the promise I made in that driveway 4 years ago, the promise I'm finally keeping. I won't sell the car, no matter what happens, no matter who asks, because this is us. This is our life together. This is proof that we loved and we built and we mattered. And nothing, no one, will ever take that from me again.